Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means it's time for the Relic Grind here on Ready Check Radio. I know, man, it's gonna be a lot of fun today. It's gonna be a lot of fun today. So, chat, here's what I'm gonna do for you right off the bat. If you have not put in answers to our Final Fantasy Favorites survey, the link is in chat. You can go fill it out now. We will be sharing your reactions live on today's show because there's not a lot of news, right? Final Fantasy XIV 555's out. We'll touch base with the hosts and see if anything's changed in their opinions, their initial opinions. And Square Enix kind of keeping quiet this week with E3 just around the corner. We do have a sneak peek at what they'll be presenting. So we do have some stuff there, but yeah, we're going to talk about your favorites in the Final Fantasy universe. If you're listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube, consider heading on over to the website right there. Yeah, right there. ReadyCheckRadio.com, RAIDEO.com. And you'll see the socials are all in the upper right-hand corner. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all of that stuff. And come join us live, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, so you can be a part of the show like today's chat as well. So get your final survey result answers in as I introduce my co-hosts for the evening, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. How are you, sir?
Greetings, programs. I'm doing fabulous, and I love this type of stuff. All the love of Final Fantasy right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I picked some unique ones. Like, obviously, the ones you know are going to be on there. Like, which is your favorite mainline game and stuff like that. But then there are some unique ones, I think. Unique ones.
Yeah, like mobile.
Yeah, Ms. Tech tweeted out the show and said that, oh, no, it's another time for everybody to argue about their favorites. And I said, hey, when the news is light, start a fight. So that's what we're going to do today. Also
Someone's going to get bloody.
Yeah, also joining us for the Final Fantasy Battle Royale, Adam Lane, a.k.a. Kronos. What's up, sir?
Not much, man. There's only one correct answer to all these questions, by the way.
Of course.
That is not true.
It's whatever answers you give, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's how this works.
Everybody else is wrong and dumb for choosing those as the answers. So, yes, I will give the link one more time as we go in just a few minutes here. I want to talk a little bit about tomorrow. I will be streaming if you're a Final Fantasy FFTCG fan. We kind of set this up before the show talking about it. Tomorrow, since there is no WoW raid, our group is now taking a break until 9.1 as far as scheduled raids, since we've already cleared Heroic and all that crap. Tomorrow, I am going to be doing Final Fantasy TCG. We'll play on Octagon, probably. I mean, if we get there. But we're going to do a little special live stream and go through all kinds of collectors and sealed stuff and how all of this is stored in my house and like just how I do it for an insane level of collecting. And if you want to see some neat stuff as an FFTCG collector, I don't have an A002. I would love one, but it's just, it's not going to happen right now at $2,400 for the last time one sold. But we'll see, maybe in the future. But I do have some neat stuff, and we'll take you through all of it. You can see how my collection's bindered and stored, and how I build decks, and my daily carry case, which has 9 to 11 decks in it at any given time. So we'll have some fun on that front. All right, chat, get those answers in now because we're going to get started in just a minute. I do want to touch base with you, gentlemen, though. We've had another week since our initial 5.55 impressions. Kronos, before the show, you were talking about the engagements a little bit and some of the changes there. Now that you've had a week and you've got more buffs and everything, how are you still feeling about that you got to grind it out content in 5.55?
It's fun for what it is. Like the 1v1s are like kind of a joke now. So I've been doing those, but it's also kind of fun just to cheese them and see how much damage you can do. Like see if like your Flatus Misery hits for like 9 million damage, which I've seen on Twitter, which is kind of awesome. So yeah, I mean the 1v1s are dying in like less than a minute now. You just like can stack buffs. It's pretty crazy. So I've killed almost all of them now. I'm gonna try to get all the titles just because why not at this point? But it's
you
fun.
Have time. You have time.
Yeah, exactly. I got months of time. It's fun for what it is, but it's definitely not for everybody. And some people are gonna get bored faster than other people. It's basically the same as I was on it last week, to be honest. But I'm having fun in there. So,
anything changed for you in the last week, Tark?
Unfortunately not. The real life JOB has taken up all my attention these last 7 days, so I haven't had much time to do anything in there. So still is what it is. 6 months to wait.
Yeah, that's all. That's
5.5 now. 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5 months now. There's the silver lining. The silver lining. The silver lining for it all. All right, as chat checks in with their poll results or their poll surveys. By the way, there are a bunch of freeform ones on there. Obviously, I'm not going to read everybody's freeform answer, but if you have something pithy and funny to say, by all means, go ahead and put it in there. That's fine too. But we will talk about the ones that show up the most. So here we go, gentlemen. You ready?
Ready.
The format we're going to take with this is I'm going to give you the first question and the choices, if there are appropriate choices on a particular question. Some of them are just freeform. And then we will go through ours first, and then we will look at chats. But then for the following question, we will alternate. We will go look at chat's primary answer. I will give you chat's primary answers, and then we will talk about ours. So we'll kind of go back and forth, just giving the Final Fantasy favorites here on episode 27 of the Relic Grind. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Peachy.
All right. I mean, the first question we're going to start off with is kind of the one you have to start a survey like this off with, right? It is, what is your favorite mainline non-MMO Final Fantasy title? So that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, and 15. I also, since it is considered mainline, I did put X2 and 13.2 and Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13 in there as well. So a couple sequels, but they still bear the numbers, so I put them in there as well. Kronos, since you are the one, as you advised us, that is going to give all of the correct answers to these questions, we'll start with you. Your favorite mainline Final Fantasy that is not 11 or 14 MMO.
So that was mainly a joke, but yeah.
Mainly a joke. I like Tarky says
hey,
it was mainly a joke.
There are a
not
few questions on this list. There are a few questions on this list. I think that there's only a few good answers, but that's just my opinion. It's don't attack me. Yeah. But yeah, this one's pretty easy.
I should note, by the way, that Tark and Kronos cannot see chat's answers. I have purposely withheld them from them so that it can be a surprise to them what our chat and our viewers that follow us on Twitter have done. All right, go ahead, Kronos.
But yeah, so for me, this is really easy, right? I think for most people, their favorite Final Fantasy is the one they have the most memories of. Maybe not necessarily the first one they played. So for me, it's Final Fantasy VII. It's the first one that I really felt like I played by myself and got engrossed in, and I still play to this day, and I still play every year, and I love pretty much everything about it. So it's very near and dear to my heart. It's why I love the remake, or what's so hyped for the remake. It's why I'm also very critical of certain things too. I just want things to be as good as they can be. That's just how my personality works. But Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games of all time, easily, and definitely my favorite mainline Final Fantasy.
What do you got, Tark? Agree? Disagree?
Disagree. It's up there. That's good. But I'm gonna disagree. First off, I was actually with Sly. We were doing maps, and some of his chat begrudgingly wondered why 7 Remake and Final Fantasy IV the After Years were not on this list. And
right, because no remakes were. I wasn't going to get involved in putting multiple
I would debate
remakes.
You on that.
No.
I would debate you that 7 Remake is actually a sequel. But
and I would tell you that you're wrong and it's my show.
And I told them I didn't make the list. So, for this list, Final Fantasy IV. This is going to have.
To be fair, there is also a question later that does give you the opportunity to allow those remakes into the answer.
Anyways, Final Fantasy IV is my first one. It has a special place in my heart. The whole cast of characters, just imprinted onto my heart. They have such a great character development all across the board. The music just grabbed me. It was one of those games where you still in the cartridge, and back then there was no GameFly or streaming it. We couldn't afford to buy it. I had to go and rent it, and then plead with my mother to rent it again so that I wouldn't lose the cartridge to someone else and overwriting my save file. So I rented this thing like 15 times in a row just so I could keep it up and finish it. So Final Fantasy IV is my favorite.
I have that same exact memory for that same exact game. The red FF2 cart, renting it from Far More Entertainment consecutively, just so you didn't get your save files overwritten. Unfortunately, gentlemen, you're both wrong.
Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, 7's a good game, sure. 4 is a great game, sure. But it is Final Fantasy VI. I mean, there is just no contest here. Tell me who the main character of 6 is. Exactly.
Most of the cast.
Exactly. The fact that it is not entirely dependent on one specific protagonist and one isolated story and multiple different bad guys throughout the whole thing. Yeah, you know that Kefka's a bad guy, but you think maybe the Emperor's changing things, and then all of us. Yeah, it's just from a narrative standpoint, from a character standpoint, from a what it did at the time to change the way games were made. 6 is absolutely the best. Domina not happy with that answer. Domina would, of course, agree with Kronos, because if it's not Sephiroth, then it must be the wrong answer when it comes to Domina. She is all about the one-winged angel. All right, so I'm going to give you, gentlemen, just a yes or no. Did the number 1 from all of our viewers that took our poll, did we mention it? Do you think we mentioned it, Tark?
I want to say yes.
Kronos, do you think we mentioned
it? I'd be surprised if we didn't. Yeah, so I'm going to say yes, too.
We did not.
Wow.
We did not.
The 10?
I'm surprised.
We did not. And we did not by quite a margin.
Wow. I feel like it has to be 10 or 9.
It is 9. It is 9.
9's in my top 5.
Yeah, over 28% of poll respondees gave us FF9 as their favorite mainline non-MMO. 7 was behind it, but trailed by 11%.
Wow.
Trailed by 11%. And then right next to 7, at almost the exact same percent, was 6.
Yeah. A lot of people like 9. 9's a good one.
That's a good one.
FF4. Where are you, FF4?
Oh, sadness.
Yeah. Yeah. There's 10, there's 10-2, there's 12, there's 13-2. The percentage for 4 is so small it can't make my graph.
Oh, sad face.
Right?
But hey, it's favorite. It's not necessarily the best, but it's the favorite. So that's what matters.
So I guess you could say if 6 and 7 didn't split the audience right down the middle at 50%, and they were just one game, they would have won. But they split 34.2% right down the middle at 17.1 each, which allowed Final Fantasy IX to sneak in there and take it with over 28% of the vote. I'm not surprised that 9 did well. I'm surprised that it won. Like, I kind of always expect 6 and 7 to top those lists, with the occasional 4 thrown in there. I'm not surprised that 9 did well, but I think, Kronos, surprised that it won in the viewer poll.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I think 6 and 7 have the biggest fan bases, at least from my knowledge. So like those are typically the ones people argue over the most. But 9, I mean, 9's no slouch. 9's up there too. 10 also, like I'm a big fan of 10 as well. So I'm not shocked that it won, but I am surprised it beat 6 and 7.
We followed that up, of course, with your favorite Final Fantasy non-mainline title, but we do exclude mobile here because we make it its own question later. So non-mainline Final Fantasy, non-mobile title. And I'm going to give you chat's answer at a stunning 64.7% of the votes.
Yeah, this one only has one answer.
This does only have one answer. Yes, that is correct.
I hope we're all on the same page here. But chat comes in and viewers come in that maybe you could make it live. We do appreciate you filling out the poll. We will be doing more of this type of interactive stuff, including having chat involved in game shows in the future. So make sure to join us live. 64.7% non-mainline, non-mobile Final Fantasy Tactics. And I don't think there's any shock from this panel.
Do we say it on 3?
I mean, we already know.
I already said it.
Yeah,
I already said it.
Yeah, I don't think it's even close. Oh, honestly, like it.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Honorable mentions who did manage to get 8.8% each. Final Fantasy Type 0 and Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. But Tactics just absolutely running away with it. And I can't think of a better answer. It's certainly my answer. And I'm talking about the original PlayStation. I got the strategy guide for it back here on display. The original PlayStation version. The handheld re-releases and updates are also good if you can't get a hold. They are fantastic and hold up just fine. The one thing I will say about this, and I didn't even realize this until Torchwick started playing it, and it came out before he was born, right? When he started playing it, and he's very big into Fire Emblem and other types of strategy games like this, he was surprised, and I was kind of surprised going back and looking at it, just how steep the learning curve in the game is.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, like, I look back on it fondly, but I also probably have repressed memories of throwing controllers that I just can't remember in my head, because the learning curve just all of a sudden spikes and becomes pretty difficult. You've really got to want to stick with it. But narratively, and again, what it did at the time, and we still had like Ogre Battle and all those types of games back then, so it wasn't standalone in the field, but it was, I would say, head and shoulders above most of the field at that time, Tark.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. It was one I begged my mother for me to get, and the learning curve, let's just say the system lets you target someone with a bow, but then you don't take into account there's a person between you, so you accidentally shoot that person, and you didn't really want to shoot that person. It's that kind of difficulty spike, the little intricacies that you have to take into account with every single move. The height mechanics in there also play a big part. I should be able to hit a cure with him on this one as well. He's out of height range. That's unfortunate. So it's a great game, though.
I can't be the only one that, being a younger man at the time, popped that into the PlayStation, booted it up, and was like, this isn't a Final Fantasy. Like, what is this? Like, it was so different from anything that had the Final Fantasy label at the time, Chronos.
Yeah, it was super different. I love those style games. Like, tactical RPGs are like maybe my favorite genre. I mean, they're it's like up there. So like Tactics for me is like one of the best. Again, another one of the best games probably ever made for me. Like I was playing like Vandal Hearts and stuff back then. Anything that had grid based tactical like fighting, I was gonna play. So it wasn't like that different for me because I was already kind of playing those other games that came out before Tactics. But playing Tactics made you realize how much worse everybody else was doing it than Square did it.
Yeah, and I wasn't surprised by a Tactics game. Like I played the Shining Force series forever.
Oh, Shining Force, yes.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah, the number one for the Genesis in its box back there. But I love the Shining Force series, so I wasn't disappointed. But I didn't even think. I was like, oh, Final Fantasy Tactics, great, new Final Fantasy game. Let's take this home and play it. Wait, what the hell is going on? This looks like Shining Force. Okay, I guess I'm playing a tactics game.
So,
so much fun.
How far is your son in the game? Has he got the Y graph yet?
I don't know where he's at right now. We were just talking about it last night when he was taking the poll for this. And he said, yeah, this was one of his favorites. But he hasn't beaten it. That's all I know. I don't know exactly how far he is again.
I'd be interested because that's the part I feel like that frustrates the most people is when they get to Y graph and certain things happen, and if you do something the wrong way, you can actually screw yourself. So I'd be interested to see when he gets there. I usually don't tell people just because I want to see how they react to it. So
it's fun.
Kind of interesting.
It's fun. Let's see here. Next up, Final Fantasy or favorite Final Fantasy protagonist.
Oof.
Lots of names on this list. Lots of names on this list. Now, I did get a little cheeky with a name or two. I did obviously put every main protagonist in the numbered series. This was also one that did allow other to be put on here as well. And then I got a little cheeky in some spots, like I put in Balthier and Vaughn.
He put in
in Final Fantasy XII. So let's go with all of us first on this one. Kronos, we'll start with you this time.
So I haven't seen the list that you put out, so I'm assuming this would have been a write-in for me, honestly. So mine's weird. A lot of people probably wouldn't guess this, but Celis is probably my favorite protagonist in the entire series. I don't know. I really like her story and like the progress she goes through and how she kind of starts off as like kind of a bad guy, and then she kind of gets flipped over, and she goes through like a lot of the stuff with like Sid. She basically tries to commit suicide. So I don't know. Like her story has always been like super intriguing to me. So for me, it's Celis.
Yeah, so you probably there's another question on here that actually asks you to just write in your favorite overall character to kind of compensate for so many like semi-protagonists in the games here. So Celis, you would have had to written in or put in that question because I used Terra for Final Fantasy VI. I think she kicks it all off.
Yep.
Tark, what do you got?
I gotta go with Balthier. He's so suave and cool. He's the man. And with Fran as his sidekick, I just can't get enough of him. Honorable mention to Zidane, though, for being the only non-human on this list.
Well, I mean, just like he's barely not human. Like, oh, they gave him a tail. Oh, they gave him a tail.
Technically, Raideo is only half human. Not Raideo. Terra. Sorry.
Terra. Yeah, she's half Esper. So.
Yeah.
Ironically enough here, I went with Final Fantasy VI for the favorite game. I'm going to go with Final Fantasy IV, Tark, for favorite protagonist, and go Cecil.
Cecil.
Looking back on it now, it's an overused trope of the redemption arc, and but at the time, it was not. Of course, it was in movies and movies and TV and stuff like that. But in video games, you didn't see a whole lot of that happening yet. I'll never forget renting that game for $2.99 for the first time and popping that in to 15 minutes later, basically finding out that I was the bad guy. That I had just burnt this into
good.
Just smacked these people around and stole their crystal because this king told me to. And then followed that up with taking a walk through the mountains and burning the first town I came across to the ground by giving the ring and meeting Raideo and everything. And then the redemption arc, becoming a paladin and everything. And I have fond memories because my dad my dad played video games. Like he was a rock god at Zelda and stuff like that. He did not like these random-based or random battle games, but he liked watching them because he liked watching the story unfold. He just didn't want to play them. So he would always watch playing these. And it started with Final Fantasy IV. and then went into other RPGs that I was playing, where he just got the biggest kick and would always make fun of me as a child for, you just walk into these people's houses and steal from them. Because like if they had a chest or a jar or whatever, and you search it, and he's like, they were saving 18 coins in there, and you just shanked them, like you just stole them. Or he'd walk in and see me playing one and asked if I had burned down a village lately, because that seemed to happen in most RPGs after Final Fantasy IV. So I got to give it to Cecil. I got to give it to Cecil in FF4. Now, chat agreed with one of us. Kronos, who do you think it was? And when I say chat, I should say viewers, because
it's definitely not me. If I had to guess, I'd probably say Balthier. I feel like, but Cecil's also pretty popular too. I'd be surprised if like Cloud or something didn't win though. But
you guessed it, Balthier.
Yeah,
nice.
Balthier took 22.9% of the vote. Squall came in second, gentlemen.
Oh,
that's surprising.
17.1.
People like Squall though. Yeah,
I don't know why.
And then Cloud and Cecil bringing up third at a dead tie at 11.4%. Balthier, I'm surprised that Balthier, like I put it in there just thinking I was going to be cheeky because, I am the protagonist. I'm the hero of the story. Ends up winning. But I'm really, really surprised that Squall beat out both Cloud and Cecil. And not just edged them out, Tark. Took them over by about 6.5%.
Yeah, I don't get that one. He's such a sourpuss. Why? He made that game kind of unbearable to want to play because you're like, I don't even like the guy I'm controlling. Like, why do I want to proceed with this? Not to mention the draw system, but yeah, I had difficulties with A just because A is Squall. It just didn't resonate with me.
Damina already prepping chat for the next question. Already prepping chat, threatening to burn down the Twitch channel if her answer doesn't win the next question. Favorite Final Fantasy antagonist, again, non-MMO. And I did kind of the same thing here. I let you write in if you need to, but listed like the main antagonist, and in some games put one or two. If there was like I think for 9 I put both Kuja and Necron, and I know Necron's kind of a throwaway fight there, but it is kind of like the end game thing. So we're gonna go with chat first on this one. Do we even need to like speculate? Like, do we need to? Or are we sure who chat or who?
I don't know. It could be one of two things. I think if I had to bet money,
it's not.
Yeah, it is who you think it is.
It is absolutely 100% who you think it is. 29.4% of the vote for our viewers' favorite Final Fantasy antagonist goes to the one-winged angel himself, Sephiroth, coming in first place, 29.4. Now, I should say that this was closer than I thought it was going to be if Sephiroth had to come in first. Kefka did put on a strong showing at 20.6%. At 20.6%. The only other two that really made a dent in the stats, everything else was so widespread across the board. We also do have a Titus, the whiny bastard, vote in here.
For antagonist?
Yeah, for antagonist.
Yeah, that's funny.
Nice. Arden and Kuja tying at 11.8%. So Final Fantasy XV getting a little bit of love there. But Sephiroth walking away with it. Kefka right behind. Tarkoth, who's yours?
Got to show my Final Fantasy IV bias here. It's got to be Golbez. And the reason for that is just the dynamic between Golbez and Cecil. It reminded me of Darth Vader and Empire Strikes Back, okay? You got Golbez and like, Fusoya never told you what happened to your brother. And Cecil, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. And Golbez is like, no, I am your brother.
Dum dum
I just
dum. Dum dum dum
so
dum.
Golbez, Final Fantasy IV, and just the first time you see him, in battle, he's just this big imposing figure. He scratches off, comet, meteor. Just he's amazing. He's good.
So I'm a huge Golbez fan, obviously, and I love the music when we saw it in the
hell yeah.
in the FanFest reveal. But I go with Egg's Death. If I'm gonna go with the Void, and I'm gonna go with pulling from dimensions, and I love Golbez, love him to death, love the Fiends, love the Four Fiends, love them.
Mm-hmm.
Love them. Go watch Final Fantasy Union's video on the Four Fiends, by the way. Fantastic video series. They're a great channel to begin with if you don't watch them. But yeah, I got to give it to Egg's Death, man. Grand Cross, that's some serious shit right there. And if you're a Final Fantasy TCG player, Grand Cross is some really serious shit if you can get it off. If you can get that bad boy to fire. What do you got, Kronos?
So just want to let Tarkov know that every Final Fantasy is essentially Star Wars, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
It's basically all of them. But yeah, it's kind of funny. We could like draw stuff. But four definitely gives off like some serious vibes.
Oh,
sure.
12.
12 is 100% just Star Wars.
100% Star Wars. You got the princess, and you got Fran basically being Chewbacca and Balthier Han Solo. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, Fran's Chewbacca. That's funny. But I mean, it's true. But it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. They're pirates too. They're smuggling pirates.
No, I mean it's you got the Empire. They have everything.
Yeah.
But now for me, it's actually Kefka. I know I'm like a huge Final Fantasy VII fan, but something about Kefka, it's just like he wins. Yeah. I don't know. It's something like intriguing.
Kefka too. This was hard. This was a tough choice for me.
So yeah, I mean, Kefka was my answer just because I don't know. I find like I like Sephiroth too, but I just feel like Kefka is just a more interesting villain to me, from top to bottom.
Next up was Final Fantasy musical piece. Now, there's going to be one more question later that I'll be able to give you percentages on, but the rest of these were open response questions. So we just kind of have to eyeball and see which ones showed up the most here. I'm sure you could probably guess the 2 or 3 that showed up here the most, but 1 or 2 of these may surprise you. If you look at the list that viewers submitted, we've got 2 Xanarkand showing up multiple times. Tremendous strong song. I love playing the piano version of that. We've got Terra's theme on here over and over again. Another strong contender. We've got Answers from Final Fantasy XIV on here multiple times. There are a couple nods to the Final Fantasy VI Opera House scene.
Nice.
Wah, 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 wah. We do have Battle on the Big Bridge and all amazing versions or various versions of it. Caius's theme. There's one that I thought would be here a lot more, but it's only on here twice, actually. And that is One Winged Angel. I would have thought that song would have been on here a little more. Caius's theme showing up a lot more than I thought it would, too. So some tremendous... Here's FF1, Matoya's Cave. What the hell are you doing?
That's a good song. That's a good song.
It's a good song. I don't know if it's the best Final Fantasy music piece, but it's a good song.
If you ask me to pick the best song, if you ask me to pick the best song of Final Fantasy 1, that's probably what I would pick, though. But yeah, it's like,
here's one. Turn from the Heavens. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Good song. Sunrise. That's the Suzaku fight in Final Fantasy XIV, that music. Tremendous song. So chat kind of walking away with it. Multiples of 2 Xanarkand, Terra's theme, and Answers, the most popular there. What do you got for this one, Kronos?
So this is one of those ones where, like, I don't think there's a wrong answer. There's, like, so many that you could pick that are just really good. For me, like, my personal favorite's always been Birth of a God, which is from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
A lot of people pick One Winged Angel, but I actually like the boss fight previous to that track more. That's just one that I listen on loop a lot. But there's like so many answers to this question that, like, I don't know. I have playlists of just Final Fantasy tracks, right, that I listen to, and I
Oh yeah.
guarantee like all these tracks that you just named are on there. I guarantee you whatever you and Tark probably say is probably on there too. Like there's like this is the one that has like so many answers to it that are all so good. So
Yeah, I mean, all the Distant World CDs are in my damn car. So, I mean, yeah, expensive ass Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Right here.
You and your
All
Blu-ray
the
minions.
different box sets, the import soundtracks, because in the United States at the time, now you can get them. But when I bought them, the only ones that were in the United States for like the Final Fantasy soundtracks were illegal bootlegs. And I was like, oh, no. I'm a collector. Please. Let's import this and pay twice the value of it. I'm going to go. I love To Xanarkand. I absolutely love that song. I love Answers. That is the bar that Final Fantasy XIV music is held to for me. I love Terra's theme too, man. I get chills watching that stupid 16-bit opening march across the sand in the Magitech armor sequence. I think I would have to land on To Xanarkand. If I have to pick one and that's all I get to listen to, it's probably To Xanarkand. What do you got, Tark?
This just shows the strength. The key strength of this series is its music. It's so varied. It's so epic, top to bottom. Matoya's Cave, for crying out loud, in Final Fantasy One. But I couldn't narrow it down to just one. I got two. The first one is Red Wings from Final Fantasy IV.
Good
The
song.
way that opens up that game, you get the feel of a little bit of oppression. You know you're doing something bad. It really sets the tone for the whole game, and then blowing up a village. 1B is going to be Blinded by Light from Final Fantasy XIII, the battle theme. I just listened to that for 30 minutes on loop. I can't get enough of that song. It's so good.
it's a good song.
Damina talking in chat about when we went to the Distant Worlds concert. That was fantastic. That was absolutely incredible. If you ever get a chance to see Distant Worlds live, obviously like the Primals and the Black Mages, and like go see any of it. But if you ever get a chance to see Distant Worlds, like even if you got to drive an hour or two to get there, since they usually are pretty select when they tour, go. You will not be disappointed. When they played One Winged Angel, it was fantastic. They had like the full symphony orchestra there, right? And on the stage. And behind them, like these risers started rising up in that song with a choir standing on them for the choir voiceover. I mean, it was fantastic. It was just, they staged it well too. It was great music. Good time.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to see Distant Worlds and Black Mages. I don't even know if Nobuo's going to tour ever again, but I've been lucky enough to see him live. Speaking of Red Wings over Baron, Tark, actually, I don't know if y'all ever heard of a band called Power Glove, but I've seen them live like multiple times. They do metal versions of songs.
Ooh.
Go listen to their Red Wings over Baron. I promise you. It's super legit. Just a plug. So.
Next up, the favorite system to play Final Fantasy on. Now, this one's kind of tough because it might not be Final Fantasy that creates. Like I put the disclaimer on here, all-time nostalgia, right? Because you might not be like, oh, I would love to play Final Fantasy and it just feels right when I play it on this system. You might just have like, I think what it is for me is my answer is Super Nintendo, but I would not want to play a Final Fantasy on a Super Nintendo today, like a new Final Fantasy or anything like that. Even if it was turn-based and stuff like that. I would if I had to, because I have it. I mean, we'll hook it up and do it, no problem. And I would enjoy it, but I'd rather play it on PC or PlayStation 5 or whatever like that. But I have such a nostalgia. Like, I kind of viewed this question as more of a, what system do you associate Final Fantasy with? Like, when I say Final Fantasy in your head, what video game system appears? And for me, it has to be the Super Nintendo. Yes, the PlayStation 1 is right behind it, behind it by probably like a sliver. but we've talked about us renting the games and everything, Tark, and I, Super Nintendo. That is the one that I would, my favorite system to play them on. What about you?
Right there with you, boss. Super Nintendo. It's got my top 2 favorite Final Fantasies. You can't go wrong with it. It's right behind it though. The PS1. You got a quantity issue. You got 7, 8, and 9 on there. 8 a little bit step back for me, but 7 and 9 are in my top 5. So, it's hard to decide, but it's got to be SNES for me.
I will say, though, Kronos, that this is a question that if you phrase it just a little bit differently, has actually changed for me over time. Like, if you had asked me which of the big 3 do you associate Final Fantasy with, I would have said Sony now. Granted, I grew up when it was Nintendo. Like, Nintendo and Square were in bed together, and that was it. They were monogamous and did their thing. And now, even though these games often do come out on other platforms, after an exclusivity period or something like that. I mean, I played Final Fantasy XI for years on an Xbox 360, like 4 years, after playing it for years on a PlayStation 2. But I associated Square Enix and Final Fantasy games in particular with Sony, even though my console of choice would be the SNES. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, so if it's just like what we identify with, for me, it's like PlayStation 1 by a lot. It's just, I remember like growing up, I watched my cousin play on Super Nintendo, and I did play those games on Super Nintendo also. But PlayStation 1 was really like the first time where I had it in my hand. And I remember like buying 7 when it came out and getting 8 when it came out and skipping school when 9 came out and like playing Tactics, Um, so yeah, for me, like I would probably more identify with PlayStation 1, but I think that's more of just a generational, like an age gap probably kind of thing. Like there's no reason why, like,
Sure.
because Super Nintendo is I mean 4 and 6 are on there, and if you go back to like regular Nintendo, you have 1, and then the ones that we didn't get over here at first. But yeah, I mean PlayStation 1 is where I spent most of my time playing Final Fantasy back in the day. So
PlayStation 1 walking away with it from our viewers. Super Nintendo doing well there, but it's just original PlayStation, PS1, PSX, PlayStation 1. Surprisingly, there are some maybe newer Final Fantasy fans in our viewers, and we welcome you. Thank you, and hope you'll tell your friends. There are more than a few PlayStation 4s on here, indicating either younger viewers, in which case welcome, or just people new to the franchise that maybe just happen to pick up 15, right? Or play 14 as well. Not on PC. Go ahead and play it on their PlayStation 4. So definitely some representation there. One unique one here. I don't know who said this one, but you were there are 2 actually unique answers here. So 2 unique individuals. If you gave this answer, you are the only ones that gave this answer. One person said GameCube, so must be an original Crystal Chronicles fan there.
Yeah.
And then somebody else said can't beat FF3 on the DS.
Man, interesting.
Interesting indeed.
So you 2 are absolutely unique. Next up, favorite Final Fantasy summon. This was another open-ended question. You could just name a summon and just, hey, across all games. Some people went a little further and like a specific version of that summon, like Titan from Final Fantasy XV is on here a couple of times instead of just Titan. So specifically calling out the 15 one. I am kind of surprised by this. Bahamut winning by far.
Oh, that's what I would have guessed. I would have guessed
by far
that.
from the viewers. We'll talk about what I thought in a second on who I thought might be able to take this.
Is Shiva second? I would have probably said Bahamut.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, because Shiva is second. I would have thought that Shiva would have taken it over Bahamut if we're looking at the entire franchise. Somebody that's just looking at 14, yeah, I could probably say, they'll probably pick Bahamut. But Bahamut 0, Bahamut in War of the Visions, Bahamut 0, Diabolos, Bahamut, Shiva, Bahamut. Like, it's just Bahamut over and over and over again. I guess one of those, I'm not surprised that it won, but damn, did it win by more than I thought it was going to win by. Tark, what is yours?
I think that Bahamut might be a credit to how many variations there are throughout the entire series. I mean, even in 7, what is there, like 3 versions of Bahamut?
It's 3.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you have a wide swath of Bahamuts to choose from. He's just overrepresented, I guess is the way I would put it. But my choice is Bahamut because he is just everywhere in the series. From Final Fantasy 1, you're needing a rat tail to show your worth. How ridiculous is that? To the awesomeness that is Final Fantasy XIV and his place in the lore with A Realm Reborn. So, honorable mention though. Wish he had more representation. Anima, the pain that you can see when he does his abilities is awesome.
I got to go with Shiva. I got to take the second place on this one for me. It's close for me between Shiva and Ramu. There's just something about a guy that just gets crotchety with an old beard and starts throwing around lightning. You know, I just imagine an old ass Zeus. I'm kind of in favor of that. So very close second. But yeah, Shiva. I mean, come on, right? I mean, smart, powerful, sexy, cold.
Motorcycle?
Yeah, I mean, just Shiva. Just too awesome. What do you got, Kronos?
So your spirit animal is an old bearded white man. That's where we're at.
Well, I guess first it's a scantily clad frozen woman, and then an old man with a beard throwing lightning around. Yeah,
yeah. Put those two together. What do you have?
Yeah, something I don't want to date. That looks like all kinds of weird.
That sounds like Mike's OnlyFans or something. That's where that is.
Hey, $17.99 a month. Don't you be giving that stuff away for free.
But yeah, no, summons are like a big draw in for the game for me, and the fact that like they kind of continue through the game is just something that I really enjoy. Odin is my favorite. Something about just a guy on a horse with a big sword.
I thought Odin would have done better with viewers. There's a few on here.
I was surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised that like it didn't appear. Like I don't even think I heard you name it one time, so it must have been like further down there. But yeah, I thought he was more popular than that. But no, I really like Odin. So.
Next up, this was like kind of the, all right, we did protagonist and antagonist, and we kept those lists limited for that section, but now name your favorite Final Fantasy overall character. I'll go first on this one. I think this is one I probably go back and forth on the most. Like, who's your favorite of all time? If I got to lock one down now, it's going to be Locke from Final Fantasy VI. I love the cheesy dialogue at times. I love the, wants to be a good guy, but has a bit of a sad backstory too. And, there's the reasons that he's doing the things he's doing, trying to save somebody that he loves, realizing that might not be possible, so wanting to transfer that, I can't save her, so I'll save you. And some of the dialogue, that it's just awful in some cases. And he's a pain in the ass. He's a pain in the ass forward to deal with from Opus 4 in FFXIV, still to this day. There's a better version of him now, but
the new one's way worse. The
new one's way worse to deal with. But yeah, I'm gonna give my favorite overall character to Locke, with way too many slivers right behind him to go into who's in second place there. Who do you have, Tark?
Oh, I'm gonna have to give it to Cecil. Cecil's my overall favorite character. His character arc from beginning to end, tormented by his decisions. Am I doing the right thing? Do I need to follow orders and show a little loyalty to my king? And his progression and redemption, just he nails it for me. And it being from my first Final Fantasy, of course there's bias. So,
what you got, Kronos?
Yeah, so it's funny. Like my friends always dog on me because in every Final Fantasy, you can kind of point out what my favorite character is gonna be. I always like the brooding dude, like the guy with like the trench coat or the cape. So my favorite game is Final Fantasy VII. So I don't know why. I just always thought Vincent was really cool. Not really any particular story reason, because his story is kind of weird, to be honest. But I just thought as a character, just like the way he looks, I always thought he was pretty badass. So Vincent's mine.
Sorry, I was just catching chat up. What's up, Sleepy? How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Yes, so lots of people coming in mid-show not knowing what we're doing. We did put up a poll via our Twitter. Make sure you're following it yesterday, where we collected a bunch of these answers from our viewers so that we could share them. We threw it in live chat. Chat is interacting. If you didn't have a chance to do the poll at the beginning of the show or as we were going, kind of too late to do it now. We only have a few questions left. But as we go, if you have thoughts on these questions, by all means, throw them in chat. One of the three of us will see it if we think it's something we can throw in there. So, yes, make sure you are following us, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and everything to be a part of this type of stuff in the future. Chat on the favorite character. Can you guess who won? I will tell you that we did not say it. So just think like broadly. Favorite Final Fantasy character overall.
The Sephiroth?
It is not. It is not. It is not Terra either. Sleepy Rain Dog from chat saying Terra. Is a female and is a summoner.
Yuna?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Viewers picked Yuna by quite a margin here on this one. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Lots of Balthiers for this one again, so maybe some people duplicating their vote from favorite protagonist, and that's why we left this one freeform so that people can use it. Another one that shows up more than just like once or twice, Gilgamesh, Noel from 13, Tifa, and right behind by one vote behind Yuna, Vivi.
Oh yeah, Vivi's good.
I love Vivi.
Yeah. I thought Vivi was going to walk away with that one, actually.
Yeah,
I thought Vivi was going to walk away with it.
Super sad character.
Yeah.
But I like that.
Oh, what a heart-wrenching storyline there. Next question, we'll go to what the viewers chose first. This was which Final Fantasy title had the best overall battle system. This one's not even close. Final Fantasy X.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X was the viewer. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy X-2 coming in right behind it. Like, they missed by 2 votes. So you got 10, and then it tied for second. Only 2 votes behind are Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy X-2. You don't really start seeing like Final Fantasy IV and VI, the beginnings of the active time battle system and stuff like that, till you get down to like 4th and 5th place. So kind of this one kind of skewed to more current battle systems than old turn-based systems. I'm an old man. I want my active time battles. We've talked on this show, I think, enough about this. It's not going to be any surprise to you that if you've watched this show and you watch it every week, it's not going to be any surprise to you that I'm going to take 4 and 6 in a dead tie for me. 6 improves on the battle system of 4, so yes, I will give you that if I have to take one, it's going to be 6 just for the improvements. But as far as defining for me personally what a turn-based RPG is, it was 4 and 6. What do you got, Tark?
I'm gonna have to go with the viewers. I loved 10's battle system. The ability to hot swap between characters, the effects that you can see on the turn menu for delays, slows, hastes. It was an incredible system, and followed up by Final Fantasy VII Remake. What I feel is the conclusion of the active time battle system.
Kronos, have we named yours?
I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy Tactics. We talked about it earlier. It's to me, it's like, so I really like the job system, right? I mean, it's what
painting
14
the strike zone with those
basically.
curveballs, man. Just painting it.
I don't know. It's like it's difficult, but like super rewarding. There's like so many ways you could play the game, right? Like, and the more you understand the game, the more fun the game gets. Like, you can like go in, you're like, I'm only gonna play monks this time, or like now I want to do like an army of black mages, or like every playthrough is like so vastly different. And I mean, you could do that in other Final Fantasies too. You can bring in like another party member, right? But to me, it doesn't affect it the same way. I really like Final Fantasy VII's materia system. That would probably be like my number 2. I liked how you can like kind of take stuff on and off, and and level it up separately from the characters. I'm more of a fan of the OG than like the newer stuff, but the newer stuff's good too. But I don't know, something about just a good tactical RPG with like a job system. It's hard for me to beat that. Like I even like the advanced games just for the battle system alone, even though the story is not great. But
Wow.
tactics is like, yeah,
What a
I love Final Fantasy.
curveball.
And I think you could also kind of split this up into battle system and progression systems, but that's maybe
Well,
for
yeah, I
next
mean
time.
this was focused on battle systems, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think progression systems you could easily have made that a question as well. Maybe on round 2, because this won't
Yeah.
be the last time we do stuff like this. Remember, not only stuff like this, but I've got ways now to actually have chat compete with the hosts on competition type stuff. So we'll be doing all that on multiple shows, not just this one. But you definitely want to join us live as often as you can. Favorite Square Enix property that needs to make a return. Now, whether that would be a remaster or just or a full-blown reimagining, a remake, or anything, we're not talking about that. It's just which you don't have to get specific on what kind of comeback it makes. Just what series needs to make a comeback. We'll get the chat's answer in just a second. I'm going to go first. Torchwick and I were talking about this last night, and let me first say there isn't a single one that I wouldn't want to have back. If you gave me something in the Chrono series, I'm buying it. You know, I'm buying all these different Manas and Saga Frontiers and stuff that they're doing now on the Switch and all this stuff. Fine. That's me. I'm going to buy them. You do Vagrant Story, I'm all over it.
Oh, God, yes.
Like, you do Vagrant Story, I'm all over it. Like, I will buy any of these. That's fine. But the one I want to see, and Torchwick does too, Parasite Eve. I think it is absolutely, and I know that departs from like RPG, what we're talking about a little bit here, but if there was ever a series that is ripe and needs to be taken advantage of right now, if I was Square, the minute Silent Hills gets canceled, I am starting development on a Parasite Eve game. Like, the minute I see that Konami announcement go public, I am making a Parasite Eve, whether it's a new one or an HD remaster of one of the original titles. I don't care. We need a team. Let's go. Get them in here. I'm amazed that it hasn't happened yet. Parasite Eve was so good. To this day, I can see in my head, just closing my eyes, the opening opera burning scene in Parasite Eve. Just tremendous. But I'll buy them all. What do you got, Kronos?
I thought you were gonna say Legacy of Kain. I thought that's what you were gonna say.
Oh,
the only reason I did not say Legacy of Kain is because I think we're gonna see something on that front soon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Parasite Eve's a good one too, though. For me, I went a little bit out there. For me, it's Star Ocean. They tried to make a couple of them, like I think in like the mid 2010s, and they weren't very great, to be honest. I Star Ocean 1 through 3 are like some of my best memories from like PS1, PS2, and so I would hope they could like kind of get back to that. So like I love those series, and I'd like to see it come back at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I did not play. What is it? Amnesia?
Oh, the mobile title?
Yeah, I didn't play that, but I did play Integrity and Faithlessness. I did play that game. It was not great. I'm a huge fan of Star Ocean. I got that at midnight release. It did not. Sorry. This breaking news. I'm just having things shoved at me by viewers off screen. I guess they just needed to appear and say hi.
I have one in my background too. Same plushie. Yeah.
Still got his little tag there. Yeah, Star Ocean. I can go with you. I can get behind that. Tark, what do you got?
So I have a top 5. I will narrow it down.
Oh my god.
It's so hard. There's so many good properties that need love.
Okay, but the question is, what is your favorite Square Enix property that needs to make a return? Not put together your own fucking top 10 lists and bring them to my show.
I don't care. I'm cheating. Parasite Eve's on there, of course. Legacy of Kain's on there. Front Mission would be amazing to see. Anything in the Chrono series, remakes or a new one. But my top number one, what I would love to see is Valkyrie Profile.
Wait. So you have a top number one?
Yep. Valkyrie Profile. Let it come back. Give me a new title. Lenneth, Samaria, amazing titles.
I have an answer to this question. But I'd like to give you the 14 things that are not the answer to this question.
In spirit of Final Fantasy XIV, let me go down the list here, okay? But up top, Valkyrie Profile.
No, Odin Sphere was Atlas. CB
Yeah,
Raindog asking if Odin Sphere was Square Enix. No, that was Atlas. Great series. From the viewers, I don't think there's any surprises here. Chrono Series walked away with this one, and I can't disagree. Yes, I would love to see it. This was one... any mainline FFs besides 7 and Drakengard. Like, they threw in Drakengard as there. But Chrono Series running away with it. Some people saying that they would have been okay with this question and not really had an answer if they hadn't totally screwed up couch co-op for Crystal Chronicles. Here's Super Mario RPG. That's not going to happen.
That's far-fetched, yeah.
I mean, that game is still that series is still being developed, but it would be nice to see Square do it again. It's just not going to happen. Bouncer made the list. This was one that I was gonna answer because I loved this game and I didn't think somebody put it. Only one of you put it here. But Brave Fencer Musashi.
Ooh,
I would love another Brave Fencer Musashi. That was such a great dumb game.
That came with a demo to Tactics, right?
Yeah.
And Samurai Fencer was even better.
Yeah.
I mean, but any of these, like somebody put the Bouncer on here, a new Tactics sequel, Chocobo Mystery Dungeon. So basically what we're saying is we will make anything that they make, or we will buy anything that they make. But man, there are some that some really need some love. And Parasite Eve, I think, is one of them. Favorite Final Fantasy mobile title of all time? I put a disclaimer on this question. It does not have to be active, but it must already be released. So no voting for like the upcoming Final Fantasy related stuff or Final Fantasy VII related stuff. Easy winner, according to our viewers, with 30.3% of the vote was Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, with Brave Exvius right behind it. That's by 6%. Record Keeper at 18%. Dimensions at 9%. And then everything else at like 3% or lower. So Opera Omnia running away with it. Tark, what's yours?
Gotta be Opera Omnia. The fact that it doesn't have any energy, you just can keep playing it and grind it out. It's a gacha game, but you're not getting the characters, you're doing weapons. So you can get all the characters, interact with all of them, progress through the story. It's just the weapons that you're going to be acquiring. So Opera Omnia, number one.
Dimensions, Rip, Chronos, what's yours?
Yeah, I'm not a huge mobile fan. So the only one I really played was Record Keeper, so I put Record Keeper for mine.
Easy enough. 2 questions left. Somebody got cute with their answer here. Whoever this is, please make sure you watch this on YouTube or on the site and comment because you're a dick and I love you. Best Final Fantasy based movie or series? I'm going to go. I love the Advent Children movie. I really do. But I'm going to go with Kingsglaive. Only because it edges out Advent Children because I never got a chance to see Advent Children in the theater or in a theater setting. Like I can watch it on my 106 projection screen down here, but I'm talking about like movie theater. And I did get to see Kingsglaive. Luckily, it was in my city for that like 2 or 3 day run. The whole family went. And yeah, it might not be the best movie in the world, but it might be one of the better Final Fantasy ones. And seeing it on the screen, it was beautiful. So I'm going to go with Kingsglaive. What do you got, Kronos?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Because it says best, kind of makes me think about like what is just arbitrarily better. And while like I like the action scenes in Advent Children, the cohesiveness of that story is a different story.
Yeah.
Kingsglaive it actually makes sense. They got a lot of people in there. The voice acting is really good. So yeah, for me, it's just Kingsglaive.
It kind of doesn't make sense though when Sean Bean as the king dies in Kingsglaive, and then the king is alive at the beginning of 15 and not voiced by Sean Bean. So
it totally makes sense, dude. It's Sean Bean.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There you go.
Right.
Tarkoth, your favorite or best Final Fantasy based movie or series?
Oh my god, the classic, The Spirits Within. No, I'm just joking.
All right, we are taking applications for a new host.
That was a joke. Kingsglaive.
Faye sitting here getting ready for her stream. Faye, time to start researching Final Fantasy because we're gonna need a host. She gives me the salute. Go ahead, Tark.
Kingsglaive, make it 3 for 3, man. That it made me hyped to play the game. Unfortunately, the game itself didn't live up to that hype. But Kingsglaive was pretty great.
I think it's funny looking at chat's answers. Advent Children ran away with chat's answers, and not surprising. It was I could have flipped a coin right now when I told you Kingsglaive and Advent Children. They're both tremendous to me.
Did Final Fantasy Unlimited? Did anybody say Final Fantasy Unlimited? I'm just curious.
One person said Final Fantasy Unlimited. It did make the list.
Have you ever seen that? Have y'all ever seen that?
Oh yeah.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I own it on DVD. It's down there.
Oh.
Advent Children ran away with this. Kingsglaive was in second, but they were not in danger of winning at all. One of you, was it just one of you? One of you did put The Spirits Within.
You sound like you're going to throw up.
I just hiccuped. Honestly, the two are not related.
Sure. You almost kicked me off the show.
I'll tell you what, the first time I saw, and I have Spirits Within, like I collect Blu-rays too. That's a whole other story, but there's literally 1,000, 1,200 Blu-rays upstairs. The first time I saw Spirits Within, I didn't think it was that terrible. It's an awful Final Fantasy movie, but it's an all right sci-fi movie. Like, there's certainly worse out there. This is the answer that if you watch this on YouTube and you put this answer, please give me an internet hug in the YouTube comments or on the site, because all they commented was with LOL, right. That was they just said, lol, right. Best Final Fantasy movie or series. Okay, whatever. Great answer. Last one. Favorite Final Fantasy collectible or piece of memorabilia. And I wasn't ultra specific with this one because I'm sure we all have, like, maybe there's two for each of us here. Like, our favorite thing that we know is out there but that we don't own, and our favorite collectible in our collection. So I kind of left this open-ended. So, gentlemen, when we get to ours, if you have one or two that you want to share, something you've always wanted to buy but aren't going to because it's a fortune or whatever, we can do that. But from the viewers, got some really interesting ones. The Final Fantasy IX Japanese soundtrack signed by Nobuo Uematsu. All the Final Fantasy XIV art books appear on here multiple times. The Encyclopedia Eorzea appears on here multiple times. There were some that just kind of wrote lore books, and stuff like that, so referencing all of them from any games. Distant World CDs are on here. The Topaz and Emerald Carbuncle plushies, which I think you can see their feet right there. They are right there. They're still in their plastic bags, too. Shut up. Somebody just says the games. Yeah, the games. Wall scrolls, the memories. Does that count? Yes. Somebody did put Sephiroth plush. So I don't know if you're referencing this like official one or if you got a different one from somewhere else. The bag I got from Paris Fan Fest, that's a cool bag. VV figures, the games themselves, 30th anniversary Chocobo of Light, full art Maya from the trading card game. Was that you, Medic? I'm pretty sure that had to have been Medic. Might not have been, but that is a beautiful full art. Engine Blade letter opener, Final Fantasy XIV headphones, the 14 coin collection, which I totally forgot about. That is beautiful. Was it you, Medic? The bag was you, Ferris. Awesome. So a lot of love there. Tark, what do you got for this one?
I think you got a picture of it. Let's put that up. Show that bad boy.
That's it. I didn't know if you wanted to start with that one, so we'll start with that one. There you go.
Numero uno, big love in my heart. The big man himself, Bahamut from Final Fantasy X. He's just amazing.
Is this a Play Arts figure or is this something else?
No, this was before Play Arts, I think, was a thing. I found him at GameStop, I believe, and just had to have it and snagged it up, and yeah, I've had him around for almost 2 decades, I guess.
Is there a piece out there that you're aware of that you would like to get, but just like, hey, that's ridiculously too expensive, or whatever?
I would love to have the 7 remake Play Arts figures. Those would be amazing to
have. Kronos, what do you got?
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of like a one-of-a-kind thing, I guess. So it's probably like my trophies from the TCG from when I played.
You got one there? Put it up.
Yeah, hold on. I'll grab it.
Yeah, those are beautiful. And I think from the year that he won that I saw, he's got both. Cool. Okay. Wait till you 14 fans see this one. So one of these 2 trophies he's about to show you is going to be just absolutely beautiful for you 14 fans. So check it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the local qualifier trophy. So I think I don't remember how many there were total.
Can you show the side view of that so they can actually see, like, there you go. So it's like a crystal box trophy.
Yeah.
It's not just like a wall plaque or something.
Yeah, that's like the Minfilia with Heidelin going on. And then this was my highest finish at like a Crystal Cup. So I got second at Gen Con.
Wow.
That's one of my ones. And then other than that, like I just had like odds and ends. I got plushies and stuff. I really like these keychains. They're pretty high quality. I still use them. I got these from playing the card game too. A lot of my stuff actually just came from like playing the card game and winning stuff, and then I just kept it,
Very nice. Anything out there that you're like, I want to get that, but that's a fortune.
I mean, if like money was no object, I'd probably have like all the stuff on the store.
Right. Right. You'd buy the Stratocaster.
I actually also have like a lot. I have all the classic strategy guys down there too. Those are probably big ones. But yeah, I probably would buy the guitar if it didn't cost like $3,500.
I would too. I saw Unileska's stream. She's running her donation thing. Like, we're doing a subathon, get 25 subs for Final Fantasy TCG stuff. She's taking donations to buy the Stratocaster. Because her collection is ridiculously huge.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
But, I'm buying the watch.
Right. Just let's have just people donate so I can buy a $3,500 guitar.
Hey man.
I don't know.
It's a pretty cool guitar.
It is a pretty badass guitar. I would buy it. I would buy it. So I didn't both this is one that we want to see here. Where's my B-roll footage? I don't know. You guys have probably seen this, right? The Advent pieces. Do you remember this set? This was a limited Final Fantasy VII set.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love this entire set and everything about it. One of my favorite aspects of it is this like wall display with 3 special discs for the Final Fantasy VII game. Absolutely. So this was not a collector's set per se. This was not like, you go buy the collector's set and you get the game and all this crap in it, which I don't need to take you on a tour of my background and my upstairs for you to know that there's hundreds of those in this house. This was like its own separate limited edition. There were, X number of them. But yeah, the Advent Pieces is the name of the set. You can still get this. It's going to be through somebody selling it, like, eBay type deal. And if you like this, or if you've never seen it and you go look at it, it's not cheap, but it's not terribly expensive. This is not a Stratocaster. This is something that you spend probably for one that's in really nice shape and has all the pieces. That's the most important part because there's so many pieces to this set. Probably $250 to $300. So it's not like astronomically out of range. If you like 7, this is probably one of the defining pieces of the collection for 7. It was one of my favorites, at least. In my personal collection, I'm going to go with something kind of unique, Chronos, as well. And that's going to be this bad boy right here, which you can't see in my camera shot. You can see it if I use camera 2, but you can't see it in my normal camera shot. This is one of the original Black Mage A Realm Reborn posters framed with autographs by basically the entire team. We've got Yoshi P, we've got Soken, we've got Koji Fox. Like, we've got them all here. 7 or 8 different signatures from back in 2013. So you can see dated. One of the signatures is dated. And this is one of my prized pieces. I just like it. Like, it's probably worth nothing. But it's also unique. There aren't many that have all those signatures. There aren't many, period. And there aren't, many that have all the signatures in the same places, even if you were at these events to get those signatures too. So kind of one of my more unique collectible items.
It's an amazing piece.
Yeah, a very cool piece. Very cool piece. And maybe someday it'll be worth something, but that's not why I want it. We are just. Oh my God, we lost Kronos' video. Oh my God, we lost his video.
Is it replaced by Unicorn?
I can't change cameras. Oh, there, he's coming back. There he is. He's back. He's back. A couple quick news hits.
Did you actually hear me?
No, we couldn't hear you.
Okay.
A couple quick news hits before we go to Faye and her stream. Square Enix is looking for a name for its Pride mascot. You might remember this mascot was created last year to celebrate Pride. Now, in this year, excuse me, Square Enix is looking to kind of make this mascot more permanent and a part of their legacy to celebrate this year's Pride Month. So they are soliciting names via their Twitter account to name their mascot. And I don't have any good names. Like, all the names that I was like, well, no, that's dumb. No, that's dumb. No, that's dumb. So I don't have any recommendations, but do you, gentlemen?
I don't have any recommendations.
He's cute as hell. I love this dude.
It is cute as hell.
I love this little guy.
A couple that I saw, Nyx, NYX, I thought was kind of cool, and Mina, MENA.
I don't think they would name it after a character, so I think Nyx is out.
Okay. Is it Mina? I think that's a Brave Exvius character too.
Yeah, but I don't think they would give it a Final Fantasy character's name. I don't know. Maybe they would. Maybe. I
think what I saw on the Twitter was I think it was like Pride Bunkle or something like that. It was like a combination of Pride and Carbuncle.
Cute. That's cute.
That was not my idea. That was on the Twitter thread. Someone else put that, but that sounded like the best one that I saw.
That's kind of cute. I like the name. And it works with the character design too. I like that. That might be my vote. But we'll see. If you've got better recommendations, head on over to Twitter. They are looking for all kinds of recommendations. And you might be able to be a part of Square Enix's permanent history, which is always an interesting proposition. We did get a peek today, actually, at what Square is going to be presenting during its showcase, its summer showcase, to air June 13th during E3. We're going to see a world premiere of a new game from Eidos Montreal. This has to be Tomb Raider related, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, 95, 100%.
And it's going to be about a 40-minute stream. We're going to see an update on Babylon's Fall, which I'm showing the picture of. We haven't seen really anything about this game for 2 years.
I totally forgot about this.
Wasn't it 2018 or 2019 that we saw something at E3 about it, and then that was it?
Is this supposed to be from Platinum Games?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think Yoko Taro has been working on this. Yeah. I think.
Details about Marvel's Avengers expansion, Black Panther, War for Wakanda, and updates on upcoming and in-game events. Let's put a pin in that one for just a minute. And deep dive on Life is Strange True Colors and a first look at Life is Strange Remastered Collection. We also expect to see Final Fantasy XVI. Like, I don't think this list is all inclusive, right?
Mhm.
We expect to see something on Final Fantasy XVI. We expect to see something on Forspoken. Like, there's a lot, but there's a few additional things that we may be getting a glimpse at. And I wanted to put a pin in Avengers because, according to Forbes, remember how we all thought, and most players thought, you know what, Marvel Avengers really wouldn't be that bad if they would just rework the way loot works in this game. If they would just redo that a bit. Yeah, that's not happening. In a recent live stream, this according to Forbes writer Paul Tassi, in a recent live stream, the concept of a Loot 2.0 rework that the community keeps bringing up was, once again, brought up. And this time, we got an answer that definitely says there is no singular grand rework of gear coming. The recent changes being referred to, I believe, are improving exotics to some degree, but players have been expecting a lot more transformative than the current system, and they're not terribly amused. And it's taken 8 months to get to the point that we're at now, but there is no plan for a massive loot reworking for Marvel's Avengers. And I just got to ask, does that mean this is over now? Like, yes, they're going to get their expansion for the Black Panther one. We know Spider-Man isn't coming until after that, which is probably putting it at late 2021, early 2022 for a PlayStation-only exclusive DLC character. If the main problem with the game is not going to be reworked in any meaningful way. Is this just dead now, Kronos?
Do you think we even get the Spider-Man? Well, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, it's got to make it at least another 6 to 8 months before it's going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to try to at least do what you said, where like they at least release the expansion and probably the stuff that they promised, and then it's probably over. But the fact that they're not,
yeah. I think with Guardians of the Galaxy, we know that they're doing something along that. I don't think they want this to go down before that goes up.
That could be true. Yeah.
I think that might be the play. Tark, is this one just over? Like, can we pull the curtain, tuck it into bed, and just be done?
Yeah, the writings are now on the wall. They're showing that they're not willing to put any time or money investment into fixing its core issue, which is loot. And you have a looter that you don't want to fix the loot on. So, yeah, this is going to end maybe the next year. I feel bad for everybody that's paid real money for cosmetics and to make their superheroes look cool, but
and somehow they've managed to screw that up too.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. This is doomed. I don't see a way back.
Let's slide over and do Love It or Leave It. As always, this is the way we cap off the show, giving you a topic, something Square Enix related, whether it be a game, a press release, something they announced, something they did, a system in a game, whatever the hell I feel like bringing up, and the three of us chime in on whether we love it and we want more of it, or we could do without it, and we're just going to leave it on the wayside. And we encourage you to give us your thoughts in the comments below on YouTube or over on ReadyCheckRadio.com. Now that 555 is out in full, the grind is fully explored as far as what you need to do from beginning to end, whether or not you've actually finished it, separate story, but at least you know what the entire process is. I got to ask, gentlemen, Relic Grinds as a whole, the way they are currently done in Final Fantasy XIV, love them or leave them. I'm not talking about Relic Grinds just the in general. I'm talking about the way they are executed right now. Love it or leave it. Tarkov.
I'll take love it. Lets you go back to do other stuff, bring that to some sort of relevance. I try not to do my relic grinds until the end of an expansion. That gives me something to do for the next 6 months is work on relics. Yeah, I'm fine with it. And the Bozja content is kind of engaging. I'm fine with it. I'll take a love it.
Kronos.
So I've finished 2 of the new relics now. And I see people like complaining, which is funny because I don't think those people have ever done ARR relics and had to wait on a fate for like 12 hours. Um, I'm gonna say leave it though. I would like to see them shake up how they're doing it. It feels very cookie cutter, which to be fair is a lot of how 14 operates to
And
begin
other
with.
MMOs too, yeah.
So like I understand like they're trying to get people back into old content. But I don't know, like I like doing Bosja not because of the relic. I actually just like doing the Bosja stuff. I don't really care that the relic's there. I only do it because it's like just happens to be there. I'd like a reason to go do other stuff to get a relic. But then also for me, I'm not really the target audience, right? Because I already have like the weapons like way in advance that are already basically best. I mean, the relic only passes it at the very end. So I'm gonna go with leave it overall though. I'd like to see a change.
I'm going to agree with Kronos actually on this one. That's not to say that they're not getting better. The original Atma and oh my god, I mean, that was horrendous. That was horrendously implemented. They are.
Tell you a tale of Eastern Thanaland.
Oh god, my entire guild. All of you guys are like, all right, we're going on, and I'm like, you sons of bitches. Oh, that was awful. Yeah, that's right. That's back when we were in the Gamebreaker Nation guild together. That's where we met. And so they are getting better. They are definitely getting better. I am a big fan of them adding like the different abilities to go do. You can go do Bosja, you can go do these fates over here, or you could go do this and you can go do that. I like that. I like where they're improving. As a process, I just don't like the way it's generally done in Final Fantasy XIV. It's not going to go the way I would like it to go because the game works in a different way than other MMOs. But I just come from an older school Final Fantasy XI, World of Warcraft back in BC and Wrath of the Lich King days where those high-end relic or legendary or exotic or whatever it was called in your game of choice, those were gated behind difficulty. Is basically the way that they were gated. Yes, there was some repetition, and maybe you had to do the highest end raid X times to get X number of drops and get things like that. So I like that better than I don't feel accomplishment out of bludgeoning hundreds of meaningless creatures over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to grind out a relic. I don't feel like I accomplished anything besides tedium when I'm finally awarded with my relic. Unfortunately, it's not going to go the way I want it because there's a whole different gear progression in Final Fantasy XIV that they use the higher and the savage and the ultimate and the extreme content to do. So the relics are never going to be put there, nor do I think they should with the way Final Fantasy does hard-end content. It's improving. I don't like it. Leave it, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it. That's going to do it for today's show. Faye has been waiting patiently. Thank you, Faye. Thank you so much, Faye. Chat, hang tight because after this show, Faye will be going live, hanging out. Faye, what do you got on store or in store for viewers tonight? What are you playing?
Well, back due to popular demand from everyone, the 3 murder hobos are at it again.
Oh, jeez.
Smash. Well, to be fair, I need it after this week at work. I don't know about any of the rest of you, but I could use some undead smashy smash. So we're back to that, though. Next week, I might take the stream back to Outer Worlds.
So it's you and Yad and Tarkoth in Diablo 3.
Yeah, Tark got all this fancy armor, so we got to show it off.
Ah, right.
Yep, I glammed it up.
Yeah.
Gotta give the people what they want.
You got to give them what they want. Chat, we'll go dark for about 20 seconds after the show, and then we'll come back with Faye and friends. Remember, tomorrow during my stream, 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing a bunch of Final Fantasy TCG stuff, so showing different collection pieces and how it's all stored in my house and everything. Just hanging out and having a good time. We'll walk around with the camera. So we'll be doing a little bit of streaming from my phone and then a little bit of streaming from the PC and then the multiple cameras. We'll have a blast. If you're watching on YouTube, come hang out. Twitch.tv, Ready Check Radio, RAIDEO. And of course, we'll be back on next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern with another episode of the Relic Grind. Until then, Kronos, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, same as always on Twitter. Still stuck at 148 mounts, by the way. So spirit bombs weren't enough. I'm gonna need more of that. These field notes are like terrible. Trying to get all the field notes, so I got one
What
left.
do you get for that?
You get a mount. You get the Balthier's bike, or you get the Balthier and Fran bike.
Oh,
So, it's a pain in the ass. I got one left though, and I'm hoping I can get that maybe tonight. Probably going right back into 1v1s after this. So.
Nice. Tarkov.
both on Twitch and Twitter at Tarkov Gaming. Also here on Ready Check Radio Saturday and Sunday nights where we're playing Nier Replicant still.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio so we can tweet at you every time we go live with one of our 3 different podcasts or anytime one of our lovely panel of volunteer streamers goes live to hang out with you. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.